Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, a YouTube channel where we talk about metal rock and prog music. Today's video is the best prog epic tracks of 2024, and I define that by songs that are over 13 minutes in length. I know some other channels or other lists might use 15 minutes, maybe some even go as far as 20 minutes, but I thought there were a lot of great songs even between the 13 and 15-minute mark where the song structures of them is more like a prog epic than like a traditional song. So I made my cutoff at 13 minutes. And I've got 40 here, so it's quite a big list. I'm going to jump right in. There's metal, there's rock, there's kind of a lot of different genres here. Uh, and I've made a Spotify playlist. That's what I'm sharing here on my screen. You could probably see some spoilers from artists that will be on my list based on what's in my recommended here. But I'm going to kind of scroll up the playlist as we go. But there were two that aren't on Spotify. They're in my top 40 prog epics of the year, so I'm going to start with those. The Scales Shroud is a great band who released their ninth album. They're an American, I guess it's a one-man musical project by Brett Windnagel, where he plays every instrument. And they released an album that is a one-track album, a 40-minute epic progressive death metal track called Wormfire and Starlight. If you like progressive death metal with doom metal influences, definitely check that out. Lots of heavy riffs, intense, harsh vocals, and great guitar leads. That's The Scales Shroud. The Scale is spelled Lascaille, and it's Wormfire and Starlight. And the other one that's not on Spotify but is in my top 40 prog epics of the year is Oddleaf. And their epic is called Back in Time. It's 14 minutes and 24 seconds. And it's the fourth track out of six from their debut album. They're a French band. It's progressive rock, female vocals. Not on Spotify, but you could hear it on Bandcamp. If you're a fan of Circulines and Cersei Link and Christian Nesmith, definitely check this out. It's a similar 70s sounding prog rock with female vocals. Now let's jump into the ones that are on Spotify. I'll scroll up. The first one you can see here is by the band Versa, and it is called Artemis, 17 and a half minutes from the album A Voyage Destination Part 2, which is their fourth album. They're a great Canadian band. This is symphonic progressive rock with post-rock, ambient, experimental, folk, and indie rock influences. Mostly an instrumental album, but has several vocal moments. This track in particular features Sam Valen, who is the guitarist from Caligula's Horse, a band that I love and that got my album of the year in 2024. He's an amazing guitarist, and I think this is the best song on the album. Next, I have The Tangent and their song The Anachronism, which is 21 minutes long. Progressive rock with jazz fusion influences from the 13th album by The Tangent. They're from the UK. This album is different from the other Tangent albums because every part was played by the band leader Andy Tillison. He even did all the artwork and production. He played every instrument and recorded every vocal. So check out The Anachronism by The Tangent. Next one I've got is Carphagen and their track Faces First Contact Tapes, 21-minute prog epic from the album Messages from Afar, The Working Tapes, which is a great symphonic progressive rock album, some art rock and new age influences. I think it's their 19th album overall, their second one they put out in 2024. They're a very prolific band, so it's hard to keep count. Next, I've got Once Upon a Dream by John Anderson and the Band Geeks from his album True, symphonic progressive pop rock. This is John Anderson's 16th album. He, of course, is a former Yes lead singer. And this is his first album with a backing band called the Band Geeks. The album really embodies the spirit of the band Yes, and it has elements from various eras of the band's history. And I think Once Upon a Dream is a great prog epic 16 and a half minute track. Next up, I've got two from the band Aquilus. I've got Nigh to Her Gloam and My Frost-Laden Veil, both around 17 minutes long from their album Bellum 2, and it's atmospheric symphonic black metal with classical and folk influences. They're another one-man band, so lots of one-man bands so far. Uh, they're from Australia. And if you're a fan of the first two Opeth albums and Emperor, I think you'll like this. It blends classical music, black metal, and folk really well. Typical harsh black metal shrieks for the vocals, but they're mixed into the instrumentals, so they sound more like background ambience and sound effects rather than a lead vocal or a lead instrument. Both great epic tracks. So check that out if you like black metal. That's the first instance of screaming on this list. It won't be the last. The first four are kind of safe for people who don't like heavy, harsh metal or screaming. They're pretty safe and tame, but this is pretty intense. So maybe not for everybody. And on that note, there's also Eternal Storm with their track An Abyss of Unreason from A Giant Bound to Fall. This is melodic death metal with black metal and progressive metal influences. And this is the great opening track on this second album by this Spanish band. Check it out. Then I've got DGM and their track of Endless Echoes from their album Endless. It's progressive power metal. And this is the 12th album by this Italian band. If you're a fan of Evergrey and Dream Theater, definitely check this one out by DGM. The album manages to be heavily inspired by 70s prog rock, but it's also really accessible and catchy with pop hooks, but a bit of heaviness. Nothing extreme here in the heaviness. Is very approachable, all clean vocals. Check out this track of Endless Echoes by DGM. Now I've got a block of three here from the band Hourglass. They released a great album that has four tracks only, and three of them qualify as epics for my list. They've got Void Within, The Hour Grows Late, and A Fate Sealed. Two of them are about 25 minutes, and one of them's 14. This is the fifth album by Hourglass. Four tracks only, but they're all over 12 minutes. And they've got two over 24 minutes. So really long. If you love long prog metal epics, this is the album for you. They went all out on this album, Hourglass. It's all clean vocals as well, so safe for people who don't like the harsh vocals. If you're a fan of Dream Theater, Symphony X, and Rush, that definitely check this out. It's like those bands combined. Then I've got The Chariot by Circe Link and Christian Nesmith from their album Arcana. Another great, 1541 is the length of that one. Great progressive rock track. This from the second album by this duo. They both made many other albums before, so they're pretty experienced at making music. Circe Link provides the vocals here. Great female vocals on this album. Sounds like a classic 70s prog rock for fans of Mike Oldfield, yes, and Jethro Tull, but with female vocals, so maybe also for fans of Renaissance. Now I've got a metal one here with Antichamber and their album New Prelude, progressive metal with melodic death metal, hard rock, and metalcore influences. And this is from their debut album, A Light on the Screen. They're a French band, and it's a truly great hidden underground gem of an album with both clean and harsh vocals. And this is a great 19-minute long track. Next up, I've got SJS with Blue Sky Born from the album A Sequence of Mistakes. This is 13 and a half minutes. It's neo-prog with jazz fusion, ambient, electronic, post-rock, folk, symphonic, and space rock influences. The third album by this Australian band. It manages to be sad and melancholy, but also uplifting and hopeful at the same time. If you like Mike Oldfield, Yes, and Sigur Rós, definitely check this out. This song, Blue Sky Born, is over 13-minute epic of atmospheric beauty. It features Kirsty Foster, and the two songs with her vocals are the best on this album, I think. I think her vocals are just beautiful. So definitely check this out. Possibly the most beautiful song on the list so far. And next I've got some metal here with Aeons and their track called Ghosts from their album The Ghosts of What We Know, 19 minutes and 22 seconds of progressive metalcore gent. And this is their third album. They're from Isle of Man. This features, yeah, just lots of great playing, heaviness. Definitely check it out if you like progressive metal. Then I've got a great one here by the band Sycophant from their self-titled debut album. It's called Forgotten Paths. It's a 14-minute track, progressive rock with jazz fusion, pop, funk, and surf influences. They're a great Norwegian band, and I did a full review for this album on my channel, so check it out to get my full thoughts. Truly excellent album for fans of Rush, Led Zeppelin, Mastodon, and Baroness. You should like this. And big thanks to the band for sending me a CD copy of that. And I've got Haitian next with Goddess in the Machine is the track from Awaken the Endless Deep. 16 and a half minutes, progressive metal with ambient post-rock and groove metal influences. This is their debut album. They're an American band, and they've got an excellent blend of influences that make a fresh, unique sound for them, mixing Lamb of God, Mastodon, Tool, and more. That sounds good. Check out Goddess in the Machine by Haitian. Then there's Spiderweb Train by Kaipa from Summer Grinningsløs. This is the 15th album from Kaipa. They're a Swedish band. If you're a fan of the Flower Kings, Yes, Genesis, Carphagen, and Is, definitely check out this great prog rock epic called Spiderweb Train by Kaipa. All right, we're halfway there. Top 20 here. They're kind of in order, but like the order is pretty like interchangeable. These are all amazing tracks, so it's hard to order these. But I've got Haven of Echoes. They released two tracks that qualify for my time limit. It Walks Among Us and Non Sum Non Curo. 14 minutes for It Walks Among Us and 17 minutes for Non Sum Non Curo. Both from the album Memento Vivere. Great atmospheric cinematic prog rock with post-rock metal influences there. This is the second album by this German band. Their vocals are fairly high-pitched male vocals, but they're clean, catchy, and solid. Nice atmosphere throughout the whole album. At some parts, the guitars get pretty crunchy and it sounds like metal, but it's never too extreme. Check out Non Sum Non Curo and It Walks Among Us from Haven of Echoes. Next, I've got Frost with Life in the Wires Part 2. Definitely check it out from their album called Life in the Wires. Great neo prog rock with electronic, alternative, pop, metal influences all mixed in. It's the fifth album by this supergroup. The musicianship of the players in this band is just excellent. Check out Frost, Life in the Wires Part 2. And then I've got Dilemma with their track Outer Light from their album The Purpose Paradox. Great neo prog rock. It's got pop, a little bit of metal influences. They're a Dutch band, and this is their third album. The band features Christopher Gildenlow on bass, formerly of Pain of Salvation. And if you're a fan of Dream Theater, Toto, Vola, Marillion, Neil Morse Band, Spock's Beard, Threshold, Pineapple Thief, Porcupine Tree, Frost, and IQ, definitely check out Dilemma. Most of the album is accessible, catchy, poppy arena rock anthems with progressive compositions, some odd time signatures, and excellent musicianship. Check out this track, Outer Light, 15 and a half minutes. Next, I've got two from the same artist, Neil Morse, and his album, No Hill for a Climber, features two prog epics, Eternity in Your Eyes and No Hill for a Climber. No Hill for a Climber is almost 29 minutes long, really long song. Eternity in Your Eyes, almost 21 minutes. This symphonic progressive rock. And he's working with a new band here called The Resonance, and it's his first album working with them. But Neil Morse himself has released many solo albums before, as well as many albums with bands like Spock's Beard, Transatlantic, and the Neil Morse Band. So this album, No Hill for a Climber, it starts with the 21-minute long prog epic Eternity in Your Eyes, and it ends with the 29-minute epic No Hill for a Climber. It has three shorter songs in the middle. If you like prog epics, definitely check these ones out from Neil Morse. Then I've got March of the Saints by Vandenplas, great progressive metal, 15 minutes and 45 seconds from their 11th album. They're a German band, like the old school 80s and 90s progressive metal sound, so no harsh vocals, really catchy hooks and choruses, clean singing. Their choruses remind me of the catchiest Iron Maiden and Judas Priest songs, but the instrumental interludes in the songs make them nice and proggy, much more proggy than Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. So if you like Symphony X, I think you'll like this. And this particular track, March of the Saints, it reminds me of Dream Theater's Pull Me Under in places. Definitely check it out if you like those bands. Vanderplas, March of the Saints. Number 13 on my list, I've got Tara Mays with A Wonderful Fall from Grace, which is 14 and a half minutes from their 11th album. They're a great Australian band. Vocal and instrumental performances from them are just amazing here. 12 on my list is Big Big Train with Beneath the Masts. Great progressive rock, the 15th album by this band from the UK. Beneath the Masts is a 17 and a half minute track from their album, The Likes of Us. And they have a new vocalist on this album after the passing of their previous vocalist, David Longdon. The new vocalist, Alberto Brauvin, does a great job here. Number 11, I got Winter Sun with their epic Silver Leaves, which is 13 and a half minutes from their album Time 2. Great melodic death metal with power metal, symphonic metal, black metal, and neoclassical metal, folk metal, progressive metal, all kind of blended together. Time 2 is the fourth album by Winter Sun. They're a great Finnish band. It was a long time in the making. Both harsh and clean vocals here. Guitar playing is amazing. Fast drumming, fast guitars, intense harsh vocals, powerful clean vocals, folk influence, Japanese influence, great guitar soloing and riffing. Love Time 2 by Winter Sun and this track Silver Leaves. Now we're in the top 10 prog epics for me of 2024. At number 10, I've got Toe Hider with Toad Hirer over 18 minutes, 1839. Progressive rock with some metal influences. And this is actually a one-track EP. Too bad it's just an EP because I think if he did a full length with two or three epics of this caliber, it could have been album of the year, or at least a contender. It probably would have been in the top five. Um, but out of all the EPs in his 12 EPs in 12 months project that he just finished, this is my favorite. It's the one that reminds me most of my favorite album by Toe Hider, which is I Have Little to No Memory of These Memories from 2022. And this is the best EP I've heard in years since Thank You Scientist Plague Accommodations in 2021. And I've got three in a row here from Triton Project because they released an album with a lot of epics. It's Everdream, Beyond the Mazes, Lighthouse of the World from their album Messenger's Quest. 13 and a half minutes, 20 and a half minutes, and 28 minutes long. This is progressive metal, and it's from their debut album. They're a great band from Thailand. A little bit of jazz fusion and Latin influence in their metal. For fans of Dream Theater, Ice Age, and Terra Maze, it's that style of epic prog metal. It's all clean vocals, virtuosic musicianship. Their vocal sound kind of reminds me of Styx, very powerful vocals that are catchy. At number 6, I've got Almo with Reconciliation, my most listened to song of 2024 on Spotify. This is from Almo's debut album called Reconciliation, a great progressive metal album. It's a one-man musical project from Sweden. This 20-minute epic is my favorite track on the album. It just blew my mind. It has a gentle giant style a cappella syncopated vocal part moment. I always love that. And then I can really hear the influences on this track from bands like Haken, Devin Townsend, Between the Buried and Me. but those are some of my favorite bands of all time. So if you're influenced by them, I'm probably gonna like you. Uh, yeah, great track. Check it out. Reconciliation by Almo. Number five, Epic of the Year, is by the band Iotin, and it's called Kinship Elegiac. It's progressive metal with melodic death metal, power metal, and black metal influences from their album Kinship, their second album. They're a great Danish band, and this is the opening track on the album. It's amazing. The rest of the album just continues this amazingness. Definitely check out Iotin Kinship Elegiac. And then I've got Ubiquity with In a Blink, great progressive death metal from their album The Ascendant Travels Among the Stars. They're a Belgian band, and this is their second album. Three of the four members of this band are also in the amazing band Omnirod. So check this out if you're a fan of Omnirod or fan of Opeth. If you're a fan of Opeth and their progressive death metal era, you'll like this. Or if you're a fan of Pia Mater, this track ends the album, and it's just great. At number three, I've got Binary Dream from Turbulence, great progressive metal. They're a band from Lebanon, and this is a 14-minute track, and it's just really good prog metal. It's all clean vocals, really well done. For fans of Tesseract, it has a bit of that djent sound, but it's not totally reliant on djent. It's just one of the flavors in their sound. Also, for fans of Pain of Salvation, maybe a little bit of Haken, Leprous, and Dream Theater in the mix too. So check that out. Binary Dream by Turbulence. At number two, I've got Trawling the Depths by Oregon. This is technical blackened death metal with folk and jazz influences. It's from the third album by this American band. Only three of the songs from this album are on Spotify right now, I believe. But uh, other songs are available on Bandcamp for free, and you unfortunately have to pay to get the rest of them. But I did find the full album on YouTube. I probably should just buy this album to support this band because I think they're a lesser known band and they're amazing. Um, I should probably do that. I haven't bought too much this year, although look what came in. My last Will and Testament by Opeth finally came in. I got the Caligula's Horse album, so I got my top two albums. I picked up Leprous and I got the Sycophant album, so I got at least four this year. I mostly listen to streaming, but I like to have some of the ones that I really love on physical media. And this one by Oregon kind of meets that threshold of quality. It's just really amazing, near masterpiece album. And this track is truly great for fans of Neobliviscaris and Opeth, but it takes it even further and even more all over the place. Check out Trawling the Depths by Oregon. And then my number one prog epic of the year is Trench of Nalu by Azure from their album Fim, progressive metal with power metal, art rock, classical jazz, pop rock, all mixed together. It's really everything. They're a great band from the UK, and this is their third album. If you like Hemina and Native Construct, I think you'll like this. It reminds me of them with their quirky but very powerful, clean vocals delivered with technical perfection and character, and it's just all over the place. And this is the second last track on the album, and it's my prog epic of the year, Trench of Nalu by Azure. Hope you found some good songs to check out. I'm going to put the link to this Spotify playlist in the description if you want to listen to this, or even just select tracks on it. It's like a 10-hour playlist with 38 tracks. Think of this as like the prog top 40. Wouldn't it be fun if top 40 music sounded like this and took everybody on adventures like this? I would like that. Um, and instead of listening to it in a radio show that's got like 2.5 hours of music for 40 tracks, or ends up being a 3-hour show with commercials, you'd have 10 hours of uninterrupted prog journeys to go on this playlist. Definitely check out everything on here that you haven't heard. If you like prog metal, if you're okay with harsh stuff, like there's a lot of great stuff on here. If you don't, you might have to skip a few if you don't like screaming, but there's still some some pretty great, relaxing, beautiful, peaceful, calming epics on here as well. Let me know what you think of this list down in the comments. What are your favorite tracks that I mentioned, and what are some of your favorite Prog epic tracks of 2024 that I forgot? Definitely let me know. I'd be interested in checking some more out. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see what I'm going to do next, hit the subscribe button if you like metal, rock, and prog music and want to know when my next video comes out. My next video, I think I'll be ranking the Prog Archive's top 10 albums of all time. Then I'm hoping to make a video on my favorite albums of the 2020s decade so far. So those are some of the videos I have coming out. Although I'm also probably going to give my first impressions of new albums that are coming out this week as well. I'll be listening to a few albums that are coming out and giving my quick first impressions on them. So stay tuned for that and peace out.